the United States government really originated prohibition. And then it was done at a time, first off, earlier in the 20th century, it was alcohol prohibition, and then it was, before that even a little bit with opium, and then later with marijuana, and then later with all sorts of other drugs. And so, sadly, one of the most successful exports of the U.S. government is our punitive prohibitionist drug policy. And so now it's been embedded in all of these international treaties. And so I think that it's very important to have these discussions on an international level. But I think the thing to recognize is that change is going to come last to the international level.
Absolutely.
And
I agree.
Yeah, and if you look at even in the United States with marijuana, change happens on the state level, not on the federal level. And only when enough states have moved in that direction does the federal system change. And only when enough countries have changed will the UN treaties change.
But simply stopping implementing.
Yeah, or without such zeal. I mean, the goal of the UN commissions for a while was to eradicate all drugs from the world. Absolutely absurd. And of course they, completely botched it and completely failed. But I think one of the things to say here is, and I'll go back to another story about my wife, is that after college, she got a job as a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. But she was a lobbyist for the Quakers. And the Quakers, the Friends Committee on National Legislation, and they're pacifists. And so they were, and this was in the early 80s when Ronald Reagan was the president and massive buildup of the military. And so what the Quakers thought of success in their lobbying efforts was not that they actually changed the vote, because things were going the other way and there was nothing they can do about it. But when somebody says, oh, everybody agrees that this is the way we should do it, or everybody agrees drugs are bad, or everybody agrees we should put drug users in jail, or in Philippines they say, let's kill all these people. When everybody agrees with this, that there'll be somebody that says, no, I don't agree. So I think when we think about what MAPS has been doing on an international level, it's more about that. It's more about just saying, hey, not everybody agrees. And I think the good news is that there are more and more questions from more and more countries about this punitive approach, and also about the underground economies and how destructive they are to governments, to the world, to giving all this money to people that are, in many cases, ill-minded criminal thugs. And so I think there is this growing understanding that we need to move from a punitive criminal justice approach to a public health approach. But I think we're still a long way away from people recognizing the fundamental human right of people to explore their consciousness. And what we're just hoping to do on the international level is really just indicate and raise discussions. You said, yes, the side meeting, yes. Maybe one day it'll be part of the real meeting instead of the main stage. So you've got policy on the main stage at Beyond Psychedelics, but maybe you'll be able to, one day this
plenary.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe one day in the international fields, this will be more of a main topic.
Yeah.
And that's just what we can hope for. But I think now, like even when Portugal decriminalized drugs, that's been an incredible example for other countries. Netherlands, where I'll be tomorrow, when they had open sales of marijuana, and we're the only place in the world that had that, and the society didn't fall apart. That gave hope to people all over the world. So people sort of on the periphery saying things should be different. It may look grim, the world may be going in the other way, but that gives hope to more and more people, and that's how things start.